Hi, Assalamualaikum. Have a good day, everyone. So today we are going to continue the subtopic 2.3 about the living processes in the multicellular organism. So there are various types of cell in the multicellular organism, which is have a different in size, shape, and also arrangement. And the cell structure will correlate to their function, and this type of cell is specialized to carry out their specific function. Here we go, we are going to discuss about the living processes in the multicellular organism. So the first one, we are going to discuss about the type of human cell that undergoes the specialization. Here are 6 cells that we are going to learn. Okay, so without wasting our time, let's go discuss one by one. Yeah, so the white blood cell, the characteristic is it can change their shape, and the function is in destroying the pathogens or the bacteria. Next one is the sperm cells. The characteristic for the sperm cell is has a long tail, and the function is to enable the sperm to swim towards the ovum in the fallopian tube. And the head of the sperm cell will carry a set of chromosomes from the male. Epithelial cell, it is about the thin and flat cell, and it will coat or cover the surface of an organ such as the digestive tract. Next one is about the muscle cell. It is the arrangement or the arranged as a multinuclear striated fibers, and the functions here is to contract and relax to generate movement. Nerve cells, it is a long and thin in shape. The function is to send the nerve impulses. Last but not least is the red blood cell. The characteristic of the red blood cell is it do not contain nucleus. The shape is in the biconcave disc shape, and the function is to optimize the transportation of oxygen. Next one, we are going to discuss about the type of plant cells that undergo specialization. Here we go. It consists of the spongy mesophyll cell, and the characteristic is the spongy mesophyll cell are loosely arranged and have lots of air spaces between. The function is actually to allow the exchange of gases from the insides of the leaf to the palisade mesophyll cell. Okay, next one is the palisade mesophyll cell. Here you can see here, right? It consists of a long cylindrical cell, and then it will arrange vertically and closely to each other. And this cell also contains high chlorophyll density. The functions here to allow the maximum absorption of sunlight for photosynthesis. Xylem, it is a long, continuous, hollow tube, and the function is to transporting water and mineral salt from the root to the other parts of the plants. Next one is gut cell. It is a modified lower epidermal cell with the thicker cell wall on the inner side. The functions is to control the opening and the closing of the stoma. Stoma is the opening that allows the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Sieve tube element consists of a long cylindrical tube arranged from end to end. The functions is to transport organic material from leaf to the storage organ such as roots. Root hair cell has a long projection, and the function is to add the surface area for the absorption of water and mineral salt. Next one, we are going to discuss about the cell organization in human. It is all about the human consists of different types of cells with specific function, and the tissue is formed when a group of cells have the same structure and function and arranged together, then will carry out the specific function. Here are the 4 types of tissue that we are going to discuss today: connective tissue, epithelial tissue, muscle tissue, and nerve tissue. The first one is about the connective tissue. What is connective tissue? This consists of various types of tissue and fibers. The tissue is distributed all over the body and have many functions, and one of the functions is to link the organ. There are 6 connective tissue that we are going to look over. The first one about the loose connective tissue. So what is loose connective tissue? It is a link the epithelial tissue to the tissue below it, and the functions is to fix the organ in their position. Next one is adipose tissue. It is about the connective tissue that keep fat under. So the first one is the under the skin dermis, and second one at the surface of all main organ. The third connective tissue is blood. The blood plays a functional role in regulation, protection, and transportation. For fibrous connective tissue, it consists of tissue that form the tendon and ligament. The tendon will connect the bone to the muscle. Here is the muscle, right? And here is the bones. So this is the tendon. Meanwhile, the ligament is to connect the bones to the bones. Here you can see here, right? Okay. Next one is cartilage. It is encloses bone tips to prevent the bone from wearing out. So the example for the cartilage is at the nose, at the tips of your nose, and also at the knee joint. Last but not least is the bones. Bone from the body frame and protect the internal organ. Now let me continue with the epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue is about the tissue that cover the outer surface, which is skin, and the hollow surface in the body. Consists of the digestive tract and respiratory tract. The epithelial tissue that is called the trachea have projection like hair known as the cilia. Epithelial tissue on the skin protects against infection, injuries, chemicals, and dehydration. Epithelial tissue cover the surface of lungs such as the body cavities and the blood vessels. The epithelial tissue cover the small intestine. Epithelial tissue cover the surface of the mouth and esophagus. It also the lines, tubule, gland, and the kidney ducts. And the epithelial tissue also cover the surface of the trachea and bronchus. Next one is about the muscle tissue. Muscle tissue consists of cardiac muscle, skeletal muscle, and smooth muscle. The first one is about the smooth muscle. It is found in the digestive tract, blood vessel, urinary tract, and also in the reproductive tract. The function is to contract and relax of the smooth muscle, that it will enable the involuntary activities such as peristalsis along the digestive tract. Second one is about the skeletal muscle. It is found in the leg and hand. The functions of the skeletal muscle is involved in control movement. The skeletal muscle will contract and relax to generate movement in bones and limbs. Last but not least is about the cardiac muscle. It is found in the heart wall. The cardiac muscle is built the wall of the heart that contract to pump the blood to the whole body, and the cardiac muscle will contract. The cardiac muscle contraction is involuntary. Last but not least is the nerve tissue. What is nerve tissue? The nerve tissue is made of neuron or nerve cell. It consists of cell body and nerve fiber called dendrite and axon. The function: the nerve tissue can detect stimuli and send information in the form of electrical signal, or we call it as a nerve impulses, to the muscle or gland. The other functions of the nerve tissue is to regulate and control body activities. Furthermore, we are going to discuss about the tissues organization in the plant. Here are the mind map of the plant tissues. Plant tissues consist of the meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue divided into apical meristematic tissue and lateral meristematic tissue. Meanwhile, for the permanent tissue, it consists of the epidermal tissue, ground tissue, and vascular tissue. Ground tissue will divide into three types: parenchymal tissue, collenchymal tissue, and sclerenchymal tissue. Meanwhile, for vascular tissue, it will divide into two types, which is consist of the xylem tissue and phloem tissue. Let me discuss about the parenchymal tissue, which is the one type of the ground tissue. It's the functions to store the starch, protein, and water, and help to carry out the photosynthesis. Second one is the collenchymal. The function is to give support to young non-woody stem, especially for the herbaceous plant. And sclerenchymal is the function to provide support and mechanical strength to all mature parts of the plants. Vascular tissue consists of xylem tissue and phloem tissue. Xylem tissue, the functions is to transport the water and mineral salt from the root to the upper parts of the plants, have a linear xylem tissue wall, and the function to provide support and mechanical strength to the plants. Meanwhile, for the phloem tissue, the function is to transport the organic matter, such as sucrose, from the leaves to all parts of the plants. The last but not least is about the density of certain components and the specialized function. Let's discuss more details about the first one is the mitochondria. It has a lot of the mitochondria in the sperm cell, muscle cells such as the blood muscle cell, and also in the plant meristematic cell. So without further delay, let's continue. The functions of mitochondria in the sperm cells is to help the sperm to swim towards the ovum, and then will fertilize the secondary oocyte. Next one is the muscle cell, such as the blood muscle cells in the insect and birds, require lots of energy to contract and relax to enable the movement and flight. Next one is the plant meristem cell. It requires a lot of energy to carry out active cell division processes to produce new cells. Next one is the chloroplast. The chloroplast contains a high number in the palisade mesophyte cell and in the spongy mesophyte cell. The function is to absorb more sunlight to carry out the process of photosynthesis. Last but not least is about the rough endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus. Contain high number in the pancreatic cell, in the goblet cell, in the intestinal epithelium and respiratory tract, and also in the liver cell. The functions of the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi apparatus in the pancreatic cell is to increase the synthesis and the secretions of digestive enzyme. In the goblet cell, in the intestinal epithelium and respiratory tract, it will produce more mucus, and in the liver cell, it helps to the metabolism of carbohydrate and detoxifications of drugs and poison. So with that, thank you very much. Have a nice day and see you again.